We are live with the first ever Ultimate Cleveland post-game show for a real game, not a preseason game. The practices are in the books, and just like Ohio State, Tyvis's dog is barking and ruining the start of what should be an epic performance. Man, I thought I was watching the Guardians offense out there in the first half. We are with Tyvis Powell, the 2015 National Championship MVP on the defensive side, a former Buckeye himself, G. Bush of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and Jay Stevens from Locked On Buckeyes. Guys, it wasn't pretty, but a dub's a dub, and Ohio State takes their most anticipated season opener in style with a 21-10 win over Notre Dame. Tyvis, we'll start with you and go around the horn. What was your first impression and big takeaway from this Buckeye W?
Well, for me, it went almost a little bit like I thought it would. You know, obviously everybody came in, and the biggest question mark was the defense. And I think they did a great job of responding. I mean, they came out, they was fast, they was furious, they was moving around, they got there with a sense of urgency, which was something that they lacked last year, and that's what was so frustrating. But I thought that they played really well. When you're doing that, when you disguise and coverages like that all the time, there's going to be some coverage busts. And I think that's what we've seen a couple of. Obviously, the first play of the game wasn't beautiful, but they got it down and they only got 3 out of it. So it showed that they still got some fight, because a lot of teams would have gave that big play up and then it resulted in a touchdown. As far as the offense goes, it was slow. I think the defense was on fire because they dealt with all that criticism in the offseason, and the offense dealt with praise. Like, it was, y'all are good. Y'all got the best quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, so y'all good. And I think it seemed like they were kind of complacent coming out. I thought Ryan Day he showed that he missed Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Obviously, last year calling plays was pretty simple when you got guys like that. I wanted to see that offensive line get a push earlier on in the first half, and that Notre Dame's defense was fired up. Their D-line was for real. Really had CJ running for his life a lot of the time. It was getting a lot of penetration in the backfield. But, hey, when it came down to it at the end, man, CJ was able to sit in there and make those throws. And we seen Mayan Williams come out there and show that dog in him, and he got it done. So, listen, it wasn't the prettiest win, but I would rather learn from a win than learn from a loss.
Jay, you came on the show on Thursday and predicted a much closer game than the rest of the panel did. So credit to you. You were right in this sense. What's your big takeaway? G. Bush, we'll finish with you next.
A win's a win. And I think right now, with it being game 1 against Notre Dame, a top number 5 team in the country, you got to kind of be happy that you won the game. Now, there's a lot you can learn from, as Tyvis talked about, how you rather learn from a win than learn from a loss. But you got to come out of this feeling somewhat, I won't say okay, like ecstatic, but you got to feel good that you won this game. You have a win under your belt, but there's so much to learn from. The O-line, defense played way better than I expected. Play calling, personnel grouping on offense. I was kind of looking at that, seeing why isn't one specific player on the field more. But you got to be happy that you won this game. And I'm trying to be as positive as I can, because in the first half, and I'm at some friends' houses right now, and they got to see me kind of get a little upset because some things you think you would see, you didn't see early on. But the grand takeaway for me is you won this game, and that should be a big thing. The Buckeyes can't take away from this, especially Labor Day weekend. A little holiday, a little extra food, a little bit. But still, man, you won the game, and that's like the biggest thing for me right now.
G. Bush?
First and foremost, I'm going to give a shout out to Marcus Freeman. Notre Dame came in here. They had the right game plan.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what they wanted to do. They muddied the game up. They ran the football. And to be truthful, they were the more physical team in the first half. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They got after CJ Stroud, made him uncomfortable. And they found ways to get their playmaker the ball. I was looking at Gronk out there. I thought it was Gronk, but it wasn't.
Gronk,
that dude, Freddie, I say Gronk came out of the retirement for the Irish. He's out here balling. Tunnel screens to a tight end. I love this game plan. I love this fire. But what really got me, and when you look at it, and the stats get you every single time, Ohio State was throwing the football all over the park last year. Today, Ryan Day had to understand sometimes you got to be able to skin a cat a different way. Olave not here, Garrett Wilson not here, and you lose Jaxon Smith-Njigba pretty much for the whole entire game. Did not have your best rotation, but one of the things that we always talk about is running game travels. Running game, it can always get it done. 172 yards right now on the ground, and you take a look at what Travion Henderson, he had 91 yards, more yards than Mayan Williams, but Mayan Williams to me was the tone setter. He was the guy that made a nice catch on the sideline when CJ Stroud was scrambling out. And I think Mayan Williams gave Ohio State that bulliness. They was bullies again in the fourth quarter, and I think that energy led them to the victory today.
You know what this reminded me of, guys? Last year, we saw teams play too deep against Patrick Mahomes, and it took him a couple weeks to kind of figure out how to just take what the defense is giving him. He wants to constantly push the ball downfield to Tyreek Hill and his other speedsters. And once he finally realized that, hey, if we just move the chains and I take these underneath throws and we run the ball and we just keep the offense moving, that's when we're at our best. That's what Notre Dame was doing to Ohio State today. And Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyvis, you guys too. I haven't watched as much Buckeyes the last year and a half as you guys, but have we seen defenses play two high safeties consistently like that? And as soon as they blitz, G. Bush, you called it on Twitter, as soon as they blitz, CJ Stroud has a little bit of time and finds a one-on-one matchup he likes and throws a touchdown to take the lead, and that was really the game. So it reminded me of how teams attacked the Chiefs last year. Was that something we saw on a regular basis against the Buckeyes last season when CJ Stroud put up 44 touchdowns?
Well, I think defenses tried to do it, but again, you had 3 wide receivers who arguably all was first-round picks, so you could try it all you want, but CJ was going to find a way to get those guys the ball. And I think this year it seems like it's going to be a big test. You know, now that you don't have Chris and Garrett, and you didn't have JSN, it was solely on you. Like now I have to be the one that I don't have those playmakers with the ball. So now I have to put the ball where only my guys can get it. And luckily, you know, a couple of guys stepped up. I thought Emeka had a good game. And I thought Xavier Johnson, who I freaking just sat with like 2 weeks ago at a dinner and didn't realize who he was, but then he made these plays. And I'm like, yeah, man. No, I know exactly who you are. So I think he made a name for himself. He's a guy definitely earned some time on the field moving past this game. I just think now CJ had to be a quarterback. Like it was kind of cheating for him because he had all these playmakers, but this time he literally had to sit in there, go through progressions, and kind of take what the defense was giving him.
Before y'all jump in, Jay, my favorite part of the game today was Johnson catches the touchdown on the ensuing kickoff. Johnson makes the tackle on the 11-yard line.
Loved it.
Literally did not come off the field.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Making the special teams tackle. That is the epitome of a Swiss Army knife.
He had a big block on the outside on the perimeter too. Yeah. When Maya Williams got about 6 yards. So that's the difference between Ohio State. Ohio State, you can have the top line starters like Ohio State, but it's the small guys or the guys that come in on the second and third wave that really come in and make plays that just set them aside in terms of a depth.
Jay, are you worried about the passing game whatsoever? Or you just think it's first game, new receivers, a good hey, credit to Notre Dame, by the way. Notre Dame's a good team, and they played really well today. Marcus Freeman had a phenomenal defensive strategy. So
they earned to be that 5th seed for sure. I think they got a lot of people respect because everybody was kind of writing them off because of the injuries that they were dealing with the receiver position. They had a couple of offensive linemen that was hurt throughout the week, but man, I thought they came in with that swag, man. They heard that they were 17.5-point underdogs, and they definitely showed something. They had this game pretty much won until the end of the game, but I like what Marcus Freeman got going up there. He got something special. He got those guys that's gonna play for him, and they gonna play hard. So Notre Dame is salute to y'all, man. Y'all real for real.
Jay, any concerns about this passing attack or this offense whatsoever? You just chalk it up to a good opponent in first game, learning new receivers, just got to shake the rust off.
I'm I won't say concerned because it's game one, new coaching staff, more of an influence with Brian Hartline in the passing game. My biggest concern to me is O-line blocking and lack of running until late in the game. I think if you run the ball earlier, those windows that Stroud normally throws to, they're kind of bigger because as Tyvis knows, you kind of got to respect the run a little bit more. So I really want to see better O-line blocking, and just run the ball more. Because I'm with people watching. We watch the game outside. And I'm sitting here like, run the ball. Like, I understand you want to kind of maybe set up the pass, see the pass more, but I really wanted to see more runs. And I think the lack of runs hurt Stroud early. Plus, early in the game, throwing overthrows, there were passes that were behind receivers. So I think he just needs to get into a rhythm. But as you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, one thing we know about guys, once they have 1 year under their belt, no matter if it's college or the NFL, you get 1 year of game film. Defensive coordinators realize they know how to game plan against you better, and they know what your tendencies are, your strengths, and your weaknesses. And I think we kind of saw that today, where that Stroud was kind of realizing year 2 is going to be a lot harder than year 1. And so with year number 2 here, I think we're going to see CJ Stroud take a leap over the next few weeks. Of course, you got a couple lesser opponents over the next couple of weeks to kind of get your feet wet and to work out some of the kinks. But against Wisconsin, you better come out and be ready. And those throws that were over, those throws that were behind, you can't do that against those teams, because Wisconsin's a team that will make you pay and will hurt you in those moments. I think my biggest thing with the passing game is you have to establish the run. You have to run the ball more, because if you don't, you're probably going to have some of the same issues with the passing game throughout the first half of the season.
Tyvis, we'll get to the defense in a sec. I do want to ask you Bush a question about the offensive line real quick. We talked on Friday about how they have 2 All-Americans in Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones. They played their 5 best last year. They went back to a little more traditional offensive line this year. G. Bush, were you surprised, especially early, at how much pressure Stroud was under on a constant basis and how little push they had in the running game, despite the fact that Williams averaged about 5.5 yards per carry at the final stat line?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't surprised by that, because I go back to last year and where they had trouble with the teams that they lost to. When you watch Michigan and watch them play Michigan, you couldn't run the football, and Michigan was more physical up front. One of the things that is I think kind of detrimental to the college football game is passing. When you think people in the league like passing in college is so sexy, it's intoxicating. When you start getting 2-3 receivers with over 1,300 yards, now you out here like you Texas Tech, or you playing at Oklahoma State. And running the football is a mindset. Running the football is what you build into your team. And if you got, it's just like feeding receivers. You got to feed guys to get them involved. You got to run the ball to get your offensive linemen together.
Yeah, that's it.
Guys been pinning their ears back on you whole game. They running past you. They getting they spin moves, swim moves, all they pet rush moves, and you ain't had an opportunity to put your hand in the dirt and come off and hit somebody in the face. And if you could do that a couple times, you see the trickle down theory goes right back to Mayan Williams. Now he's aggressive, and now he's running the ball harder. I think they just have to make a commitment to the run game and say, we got 2 great running backs. It almost reminds me of the Browns. You got 2 great running backs. If that's the best part of your team, beat people to death with it, right? Make them stop you, and then Jaxon Smith-Njigba and Marvin Harrison and all those guys and Ibuka could be open. But start with something that can really punish guys and open it up first.
Tyvis, on the defensive side of the ball, a couple guys stood out. I thought Mike Hall at defensive tackle wreaked havoc on the inside. We'll get to the DBs in a sec, but what'd you think of that defensive line performance and really what they did shutting down the run and the passing game for the Irish? It's pretty damn impressive. Jim Knowles certainly made a statement in his debut with the Buckeyes.
He definitely did. I mean, Mike Hall is a dog, like dog. That's what we've been needing right there. We needed somebody on that to have some physical presence, and he was getting back there, man, causing havoc all night. I was glad that he got that sack. I mean, he had like an Aaron Donald type of game. Like he was like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing him moving forward. I thought JTT did a great job of getting back there and getting some pressure. I think that Jack Sawyer at that jack position, like he's standing up, and I wasn't ready for that. It kind of threw me off.
Can I ask a question? Was he recruited as a defensive end? Wasn't he like a
like
a 5-star number one?
I was confused.
Yes,
defensive
I was
end?
confused.
This man was standing up as a stand-up pass rusher.
Did we see that last year from him, or was that new this year?
No, he was at
It's new this year.
Yeah. So it's
I'll
that
be
new,
damned.
it's
Okay.
this new position that they call the jack position, and that's what he's playing.
Will you explain what that position does?
A lot, everything. He can rush the passer. He can drop back in coverage. It's wild because I wasn't expecting to see Jack Sawyer like dropping pass coverage as well. But Yeah, they do everything. So
I'm trying to play that position.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I would be perfect
built for you, Tyvis.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I thought Jim Knowles did a great job of coming up with stunts on that D line and getting people home. I thought they did a great job of getting the quarterback to hurry up his passes. They got a lot of hits on him in the backfield. So that's something new because that pass rush for the past 3 years has been non-existent. It was even nice seeing Zach Harrison make a play in the backfield because he's been one of those guys that kind of he flashes it, but then goes away for 6 games. Then he flashed something. So it was nice to see him coming out with him. This is like a all or nothing season for him. This is now or never. So I'm always rooting for guys like that to go out with a bang. And I thought he played well tonight.
What about you, Jay?
The defense, man, you mentioned that jack position. They've been actually talking about that one all offseason. And you kind of heard Jack Sawyer's name be one that would be kind of that stand-up guy. In the spring game, you saw some of it, but it was more of a 4 down front. 1D end would drop back a little bit. But you kind of want to see a little variation and a little bit of difference from last year's team where some things that were doing it, you just didn't do it. But Jack Sawyer is going to be one of those guys. You saw JT Tuimoloau also be in a stand-up 2-point stance at times as well. And that's something that you saw from high school, something he could do there. So I kind of like the variation. I think the D-line, man, this defense is going to be kind of how the D-line goes. And I'm kind of excited about that so far. You mentioned Mike Hall. I just like seeing these guys fly around and be more physical. Like that was my biggest takeaway. I wanted aggressiveness. I wanted to see them be more physical and be the aggressor the entire time. I think we saw that. So I really like to see that right now. That's really one of my biggest things with the D-line was what can I see? What will I see? What little wrinkles will I see? I really enjoyed that from them because you do that now. Not only do people have a little film on you, but they also know like Ohio State has some young guys that have talent, and those guys are getting on the field. So if we're not ready for it, those young guys who are fresh, they're ready to go, they'll be able to bust some heads all season long.
G. Bush, I know you tweeted, and I wish I could pull up the tweet, but we don't have tag board on Restream, that you like the stunts they were running on defense, and you like they were mixing up the fronts. I mean, as a former D lineman yourself, what about that kind of stands out to you when you're watching this game? And how does it wreak havoc on what Notre Dame was trying to do on offense?
Well, I think so. Let's be clear to set it up. Like Ohio State has had a spoiler riches, right? When you get the Bosa's and you get Chase Young and you get them back to back to back to back, and now you just used to just rushing 4. Like you could beat whoever you want to with those guys because they got the one-on-one skill, so they can beat you, and you could play coverage in the back end. And so now it's kind of crazy. You got the corners back there too. You got all of the top. Ohio State got a top corner every single year. So now you got a front, and you got corners that's first-round picks. People get locked up. Like that is another thing that lulls you to sleep. But when you don't have those guys, you have to be able to manufacture pressure. And you don't have to do it just by blitzing. You don't have to blitz somebody. You can manufacture pressure by just blitz bluffing. Hey, they did a little bit of that earlier. I'm at the line of scrimmage. I'll show the double A gap blitz, but guess what? We're not going to come. We'll drop it in coverage. Right. Then later on in the game, they brought it, and the guy came scot-free. And you can do that with the defensive line as well. Moving in, standing up, dropping back, twist, text, different things like that. And then you can actually generate some pressure. And that's what I call free pressure. Like I didn't have to spend nothing to get to the club. I didn't have to spend no money and to buy no drinks to get my free admission. This is just what we doing by lining up and just making some movement. I love the fact that Ohio State is now doing that because I think that for the last, I would say 8 to 10 years, they've let people off the hook. Let them off the hook with just not pressuring and not being aggressive. And now you can see what happens when you do pressure and bring it. It's an uphill battle to move the sticks from down to down.
My favorite, not that important, but kind of important play of the whole game was in the first half. Notre Dame, I think, at 3rd and 4. And they showed an A-gap blitz, and they stunted the defensive line to the left. And Eichenberg came around the middle untouched and sacked Buckner. And that's just something I'm not a huge Ohio State guy. I'm new here, but that's something I don't remember seeing from this Buckeye defense in recent memory. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. The other thing I thought was really impressive, and Tyvis, this is right up your alley. I thought Ransom played a great game from his secondary position. Yeah. And the way the guys in the secondary especially tackled, there were very few missed tackles and very few second chance yards. I mean, there wasn't a ton of yak. when guys got hit, they went down. And you talked about this on Friday specifically, Tyvis. You wanted these dudes to run to the ball, wrap up, and play physical. Were you pleased in the defense's performance in that aspect of it? Were they tackling and wrapping up?
Before you answer that, Tyvis, you got to admit, Ransom got the coldest DB name out right now.
Yes.
Your name is Ransom? You sound like the coldest DB. You that man a shield and the gloves. He back there backpedaling.
I like Lathan Ransom. I like him a lot. You know,
what's his first name?
Lathan.
That's even colder. I thought you said Logan. I was like, nah, that ruins the swag. But Latham, like,
yeah. So
that's a tough name.
They actually been saying that, like, quiet as it's kept. They saying he's had the best offseason that they've ever seen. Like, he's been a guy. That's
better
why
than you.
No. I'm talking about since he's been at Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
No, just today.
Yeah,
no one ever had a better offseason.
His best offseason. Whoa, chill out now. His best offseason. So he kind of earned himself to be in that spot. I always thought it would be like a Court Williams, but I forgot that he did get hurt last year and he ended up coming back off rehab, and he's a baller. So yeah, I was very thrilled by the way the defense played. I mean, I seen it a little bit in the spring game, how well they were tackling and how well they was leveraging the ball. Because last year, that was the big thing for me. Like, they kept losing leverage, especially at the corner position. And that's why in the Oregon game, they broke for so many long runs because the corners wasn't coming up and supporting the run. But I seen in this spring game that they do come up and run. Whoa, what is this? Tyvis love food from Nordstrom. That's hilarious.
Hey.
I didn't know what that means, but it made me laugh. I had to pop it up.
They caught you at Northland. I guess so. That was wild and random, whatever. But Nordstrom do got good food though, so that's funny.
We're leaving that one up, Tyvis. We're just gonna leave that one up for
just for you.
Anyways, but yeah, I thought that the DBs came up and tackled very well. I was really impressed in the first couple of drives how Steel Chamber was flying all over the field and making plays, and him and Eichenberg. Now those two have earned the right to be the Mike and the Will. I mean, they got a lot of other young guys that they recruited that can't come up and play, but those two guys have definitely taken over that position and really became the guys. Like Steele, for example, was a running back last year that's transferred over to a linebacker. And a lot of people forget that this defense was very inexperienced last year. It was a lot of young guys that was out there, and that's why it looked terrible at times. They got another year under their belt. You can tell that they got the confidence and they got a little bit more swag to them. And like I said, in the offseason, Coach Mick obviously didn't got to them because they definitely showed that they not scared of nobody. They wasn't dodging no smoke. They was flying up there and they was hitting them. I think Lathan Ransom actually made a nice tackle on the freaking tight end Mayer on like a 3rd and 4 or something like that to get him off the field. Then you see him like with the holding up the 4th down sign. I'm like, oh, these dudes got a little something to them. So I was hyped up to see that for sure. And I'm excited to see where this defense goes.
Hey, Jay, before we get to the next question, this is from Matt Frey. He says, Tyvis, would love to hear your view on the adjustments that D made in the second half in reaction to the big plays Notre Dame had in the first half. Was it more of an adjustment, or did they just not get beat on that one first play where Notre Dame kind of caught them sleeping?
Well, what happened is, and this is the thing, this is one of the things about Coach Knowles' defense that I really didn't like, and I kind of alluded to it on Friday when I was talking, was that he's a big disguise guy. And when you're a disguise guy, as a player, you cannot let the disguise mess up your assignment. Like for example, if I want to show that I'm blitzing, but I got the post, like at some point in time, forget the disguise. I got to get to the post because that's my job. And I think they fell victim to that a couple of times. Not on the first play, but it was a play that the tight end was right down the middle, wide open. And you could tell that was like, I'm trying to hold the disguise and I'm trying to hold it so long that I ain't get to my responsibility, and it left them wide open. So I think what happened was in the second half, they got a little bit smart. Like, all right, yeah, I'm going to hold this disguise for a couple seconds, but I got to get to what I got to get to. And that was the big adjustment that they made. And I think that's what limited them to not having those big pass plays anymore.
All right, we got 2 more things before we wrap up, guys. We're going to look a little bit ahead to next week. But first, let's give out some awards. We'll start with you, Jay. Who gets your offensive MVP award tonight for the Buckeyes?
Got to go with my guy, Mind Williams. The toughness, the dog get him. I saw Ohio State tweet it out. Some other publications tweeted it out. But I got to give it to Mind Williams, man. We talked about it earlier. I hinted at it. The rushing game at times was there a little bit, but not consistent. But when they went to it consistently, they rode him, and he just kept getting those tough yards, getting the extra yardage. Maybe he might get hit at the 4-yard gain. He gets 6, he gets 8. Next run, gets 6, gets 8. And I think his toughness was something that even the old line in those moments could kind of feed off of and say, hey, we're opening these holes. We're getting our guy through the line of scrimmage, and he's getting some extra yardage there for us. Let's keep on going. So I got to give it to Mayan Williams for his toughness and the dog inside of him. It definitely showed tonight.
He's definitely got that dog inside him. Gee, who are you giving the defensive MVP award to?
Oh man, come on, man. We just talked about the big homie. The big homie 51 did his thing,
Mike
bro.
Hall.
Mike Hall, the big homie. I tell you what, it's been a while since the Buckeyes had a defensive tackle. You go back to Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, some of the defensive tackles, but Ohio State is mostly known for defensive ends. That's where they get the money at. So, but one of the places that you could really dominate up front is D tackle, because the shortest line to the quarterback is a straight one. And this man is upfield, up, ready to go at all times. I think this dude, I think he's going to be a first-round pick. From what I see just now today, playing against an offensive line like Notre Dame, I think he's going to be a first-round pick. I'm going to give it to him today as far as the defensive side goes.
Tyvis, before I ask you your question, do they give out drinks at Nordstrom? I don't get this.
All these Nordstrom questions, man.
Yeah, hey, Tyvis, what's your go-to food order at Nordstrom too? Before you answer your play game.
I don't. First of all, I don't order food. I only had food at Nordstrom's one time, and they got a mean chicken Caesar salad. So let's let that straight right now. And my drink choice ain't lemonade. It's actually I get a strawberry banana smoothie. So I don't know why they keep around.
Bro, that's a freakishly healthy meal, bro.
Let me get chicken Caesar salad and a banana smoothie.
And a banana
that sounds good, though. That sounds good. I'll take it right now.
All right, Tyvis, you're looking at this game in totality. Buckeyes go down. They end up coming back to win. One play to pick out as your play of the game. What is it?
My play of the game. If I had to pick a play of the game, I would definitely pick the Xavier Johnson play, because it showed the growth in CJ. We got to watch him grow within like 3 quarters. I mean, he went from a guy who had his number one receiver not there. So now he ain't got the guy that he's going to rely on. Now he got a bunch of guys in there that, you went through camp with him, but at the end of the day, if things get rough, I know who I'm going to. But he's gone. So now it's all on me. I got to trust these new guys that I really haven't went to battle with. Yeah, I played 1 or 2 games with them, but I don't really know. But I thought the play where he threw the touchdown to Xavier Johnson was, they were showing too high all game. And that's what he knew. That's all he knew. It's kind of like going into the disguise. I'm coming out, all right, they're in too high, so this is what I got to work with. But to be able to catch that adjustment on the snap and see like, oh my goodness, they blitzing these 2 dudes. My dudes stand in the pocket. I can stand in the pocket and deliver this ball, and delivered a nice ball to a guy that I don't even know like that. Like he might be a freshman. I don't even know if he's a freshman or a sophomore, but this is a guy that's unproven. But I'm going to throw it to him on the money and trust that he's going to get it done. And he got it done and put them in the league. So that play right there stood out to me, because it showed that CJ Stroud got trust in all his receivers. No matter who you are, when it's time to make a play and your numbers call, you got to make that play. And Xavier Johnson did that.
So we have Arkansas State next week in the shoe again. What's the one thing you want to see Ohio State do better than they did this week against the Red Wolves of Arkansas State next week?
Run the ball.
Yeah.
That's it. At the end of the day, this is all about practice. And it's sad that I say that, and I don't mean no disrespect to Arkansas State. I mean, y'all D1 too, so I respect y'all. I know y'all going to come out there and bang, because for a lot of y'all still got NFL aspirations. And what better way to show a team that you ready to play in the NFL than going to defeat the Buckeyes? So they're going to play like they Super Bowl. But if I'm Ohio State, I'm running the ball, and I have to find a way to establish this run. I got to get my offensive line some confidence so that when we get into this Big Ten play, they're not afraid to run the ball. They got some experience on running the ball. So if I could pick one thing to do, I think Ryan Day should run the ball, because for the past couple of years, ever since he's really taken over as play calling, he's been a throw the ball first type of guy. And yeah, that works, but it's so many different ways to skin a cat, like G was saying. And it's a time where you have to look at your personnel and realize that you might not have those dogs at receivers like you thought you did, but you do got 2 dogs at running back. So let's go ahead and feed them and call plays off of that.
G and J, before you go, let's address this one more time, Tyvis. This is from Keyshawn Spence. I was Tyvis's server the one time he dined with us many years ago. His girlfriend, I'm hoping this is now his wife, was beautiful inside and out. Great times, but you drink lemonade, bruh. So, Tyvis, when you come in on Wednesday, we're going to have a big Simply was it Simply Made? What's the
I got 2 bottles. I got 2 bottles of strawberry Simply lemonade in the refrigerator, and as soon as we get off this call, I'm going to pour up for the Buckeyes since they got this.
There's
so
Anthony
wholesome
in the chat letting us know that Brad also loves lemonade.
You so wholesome, bro. You so bro. You go put your robe on. You gonna get your paper and slippers. You still get the Columbus Dispatch just so you can cross your legs and drink coffee in the morning.
Hey, Tyvis, last thing before I get to J and G. You're in Columbus. Were you at the game at all? What was the atmosphere like in Columbus today, real quick?
I didn't go to the game, but I did the tailgate outside. Man, it was packed. 100,000 in the stadium. Well, it was 100,000 outside the stadium too. So it was all love, man. It was all these people running up to me, thanking me, and just remembering me and thanking me for the work that I do on the radio. It's all love down here in Buckeye Nation, man. If any recruit, I seen some of the recruits that was down here, like it's a family atmosphere, and when everybody get together, it's always just a party and a celebration, and you just feel that love from everybody. So it was a beautiful time, and I really enjoyed it.
You know what's kind of dope is the fact that we is doing Ohio State post-game show, because to be honest with you, this isn't something that you really kind of see in the market. Ohio State is kind of flying by. You see them, they blow somebody out, and you go about your business. But as you can tell in the chat, and there's a lot of people who watch this kind of stuff. There's a lot of people interested in this type of just content. So, I think there's a population for it out there, and we'll just continue, like we said at Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'll just continue to put it out. If y'all like it, we love it. We'll put it out and continue to do our thing, man.
Jay Stevens,
yeah.
One thing you want to see for Arkansas State next week. I know you said run the ball, but Tyvis stole your answer. So give me something else. Give the people one more thing to look for next week.
No, that's fine. Actually, I thought about a few things as I agree with him about running the ball. Honestly, it's better O-line play overall. And I'm going to be really picky about pass pro next week because as Tyvis pinpointed, it is a lesser opponent. And so you would think pass pro would be fine, but pass protection has to be better. So I think better O-line play overall. Plus, if you get better O-line play, they might call more runs. Like if you can consistently get guys the ball, like run the ball easily, or just do your job up front, they might run the ball more. But I need better O-line play overall, not just in the running game, but also in the passing game. Because I think I mentioned I threw my hat early in the game. I think it was like the first drive of the game. Because I was not happy at all with how quick and easy that the Notre Dame defense got back to Stroud and sacked him. So I won't just say running game. Better pass protection, better O-line play overall is one thing I'll be watching very closely next week.
Do you know what I want to see? I want to see Ryan Day look like he slept at least 15 minutes in the last 3 months. It looks like that man has not slept.
You might not see that at all.
Since he came on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on May 20th. That man is not – he does not have one Z since. So I hope he sleeps well after tonight.
He's not. He's actually going to lose sleep because of the fact that this is Ohio State. It's a standard. You go around the league, you see Alabama's blowing people out. You see Georgia's blowing out Oregon.
He watching film right now. He watching film right now.
They won the game, but it wasn't good enough. Like that,
no,
it's okay.
No, it wasn't.
It's not just okay to win the game. You got to win with some style points at Ohio State. So yeah, he's gonna be very hard on himself, and I'd imagine that this week is not gonna be pretty.
Got to clean some stuff up, guys. Clean it up.
All right. Well, Tyvis, what do you want to plug real quick? G. Bush, I'm going to come to you. Don't do what you did last week. I'm asking for a clean plug this time.
A clean plug.
Clean plug. What are you talking about?
You're on the where else can people find you? What's your Twitter handle? What do you think? I'm not telling them to buy drugs from you. I'm telling them plug yourself, bro.
What you talking about?
You drink lemonade. Trust me. If anyone's trying to buy drugs from someone on this panel, they ain't coming to Mr. Lemonade. If they're trying to get a banana smoothie, they're coming to you, Tyler. They're trying to get anything else.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at One Tyvis, Instagram One Tyvis. You can catch me on 97.1 The Fan doing the Buckeye Show this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 6 to 8 on 97.1 The Fan. Catch me on the Cleveland Show on Wednesdays and Fridays, and you can catch me on the Browns pregame and postgame show not this Sunday, next Sunday when the game starts.
It's amazing he has time to drink his smoothies with all that work. G. Bush, what you plugging?
So I'm a plug. I can't plug half the stuff I do. So we gonna
thank you.
Shout out to the barbershop merchandise, man. Make sure you check that out. The People's Champion of Building. Also follow me at GBush91 on Twitter. Locked on Browns podcast is always me, Jeff Lloyd, every single day. Your podcast every single day. It's the first listen. Make sure you check out the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show 11 to 1, and look out for the barbershop tour coming soon.
Jay Stevens.
Follow me on Twitter, guys. Twitter and Instagram at JStevens07. Locked on Buckeyes every day of the week. I actually be having a full show, a full week covering Ohio State, the win, a little recruiting in the middle of the week, and then also getting ready for Arkansas State. And also the Jay Stevens podcast is kind of my baby. I've been doing that for a few years now. My own sports podcast, not just college, but we dive into just different things going on in sports.
Awesome. I would tell y'all my name, but I got tagged to the wrong Twitter on WKYC. Tagged Mike Lewis instead of Mike Lucas. So who am I? I think McNuggets is just what I am now. This has been the first ever Ultimate Post Game Show, guys. It went 36 minutes. It felt like 3. Had a blast. We'll do it again. Buckeyes win. Can I start something, Tyvis? Can I try something?
No.
I saw LeBron do it. OH.
I.O.
Let's go. I did it right. Go Bucks. And we'll see y'all Monday on the Ultimate Tuesday. Enjoy your Labor Day. We're off Monday. We'll see y'all Tuesday on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. For G, Tyvis, and Jay, I'm McNuggets. We'll see y'all next week.